What's in it for me is why people think. And so if a man makes money selling a certain product, naturally he's going to fight the existence of another product that may threaten his institution. Therefore, people cannot be fair, and people do not trust each other. A guy will come over to you and say, I got just the house you're looking for. He's a salesman. When a doctor says, I think your kidney has to come out, I don't know if he's trying to pay off a yacht or that my kidney has to come out. It's hard in a monetary system to trust people. If you came into my store and I said, this lamp that I've got is pretty good, but the lamp next door is much better, I wouldn't be in business very long. It wouldn't work. If I were ethical, it wouldn't work. So when you say industry cares for people, that's not true. They can't afford to be ethical. So your system is not designed to serve the well-being of people. If you still don't understand that, there would be no outsourcing of jobs if they cared about people. Industry does not care. They only hire people because it hasn't been automated yet. So don't talk about decency and ethics. We cannot afford it and remain in business.
It is important to point out that regardless of the social system, whether fascist, socialist, capitalist, or communist, the underlying mechanism is still money, labor, and competition. Communist China is no less capitalistic than the United States. The only difference is the degree by which the state intervenes in enterprise. The reality is that monetaryism, so to speak, is the true mechanism that guides the interests of all the countries on the planet. The most aggressive and hence dominant variation of this monetaryism is the free enterprise system. The fundamental perspective as put forth by early free market economists like Adam Smith is that self-interest in competition leads to social prosperity, as the act of competition creates incentive which motivates people to persevere. However, what isn't talked about is how a competition-based economy invariably leads to strategic corruption, power and wealth consolidation, social stratification, technological paralysis, labor abuse, and, ultimately, a covert form of government dictatorship by the rich elite. The word corruption is often defined as moral perversion. If a company dumps toxic waste into the ocean to save money, most people recognize this as corrupt behavior. On a more subtle level, when Walmart moves into a small town and forces small businesses to shut down for they are unable to compete, a gray area emerges. For what exactly is Walmart doing wrong? Why should they care about mom-and-pop organizations they destroy? Yet, even more subtly, when a person gets fired from their job because a new machine has been created which can do the work for less money, people tend to just accept that as the way it is, not seeing the inherent, corrupt inhumanity of such an action. Because the fact is, whether it is dumping toxic waste, having a monopoly enterprise, or downsizing the workforce, the motive is the same: profit. They are all different degrees of the same self-preserving mechanism, which always puts the well-being of people second to monetary gain. Therefore, corruption is not some byproduct of monetaryism. It is the very foundation. And while most people acknowledge this tendency on one level or another, the majority remains naive as to the broad ramifications of having such a selfish mechanism as the guiding mentality in society.
Internal documents show that after this company positively, absolutely knew that they had a medication that was infected with the AIDS virus, they took the product off the market in the U.S. and then they dumped it in France, Europe, Asia, and Latin America. The U.S. government allowed it to happen. The FDA allowed this to happen. And now the government is completely looking the other way. Thousands of innocent hemophiliacs have died from the AIDS virus. This company knew absolutely that it was infected with AIDS. They dumped it because they wanted to turn this disaster into a profit.
So you see, you have built-in corruption. We're all chiseling off each other, and you can't expect decency in that sort of thing.
They keep saying that capitalism has triumphed. Triumph? Fine. Because the stock market has risen to the sky and shareholders are even wealthier than they were before. Triumphed when 1/4 of American children live in poverty and 40,000 of them die every year before their first birthday. $100,000 people line up before dawn in New York City for 2,000 jobs. What will happen to the 98,000 people who are turned away? Is that why you're building more prisons? Oh yeah, capitalism has triumphed. But over whom? You have miracles of technology. You've sent man into their stratosphere. But what of the people remaining here on earth? Why are they so fearful? Why did they turn to drugs, to alcohol? Why did they go berserk and kill? It's all in your papers. And your politicians, bloated with pride, will say, oh, now the world will move to the free enterprise system. Has everyone become stupid? Don't you know the history of the free enterprise system? When the governments did nothing for the people and everything for the rich? When your government gave 100 million acres of land free to the railroads and looks the other way as the Chinese immigrants and Irish immigrants working 12 hours a day building the railroads died in the heat from coal. And when the workers finally rebelled and went on strike, your government sent in the army to smash them into submission. Why did I write Das Kapital if I did not see the miseries of capitalism, of the free enterprise system? In England, little children were put to work in the textile mills because their tiny fingers could work their spindles. Here in America, young girls went to work in the mills of Massachusetts at age 10 and died at age 25. Cities were cesspools of poverty and vice. That capitalism. Then